supposed to take the makers off the table, but it's too late now. Might as well take a sip.
I did not see that coming.
Oh my
It's
God.
the lore. It's the mystique of it all.
We're still doing it. We haven't been cut off yet.
Holy shit.
Good job, buddy. Nice job, Daniel. Good job, man. Keep that rod bent. Keep that rod bent.
I mean, people used to get so scared of them, they had to shoot them.
Yeah, that's true.
But because you literally can't stop thinking about it. You know, you can't scratch the itch enough. What's up, everybody? How we doing? You got Dan and Josh. Another episode of Spotburn Podcast. Episode what, 33?
32.
32. Josh is always right about this. I'm usually wrong, over high. We got a bunch to talk about today. We got a couple topics. Barometric pressure. We're going to do a deep dive. Barometric pressure. What is it? How does it affect fish? This is actually pretty cool. Josh was up late night working on this. And we got a couple other minor topics. Talk about Drake. Apparently Drake is a fly fisherman now.
Yep.
So we're going to dive into that topic, which I'm sure you're all waiting for our opinion on, you know, because it's such an important, pressing matter, especially these days. But yeah, what else? What else is going on? Nice hat. I like your hat.
Yeah, you too, Dan. I might have to steal that from you later.
I might steal your hat.
Should we do it now?
Do you want to trade hats?
I'm just going to do it.
Is this a planned bit by Josh? It doesn't even
You got a
fit
big
me. God
head.
damn it,
Oh,
dude. You
boy.
little tiny head. How does your brain breathe? It's just getting compressed.
Jesus.
Okay, so there's that. What else? Well, we tried something new. This was not a moment of genius, more of a moment of laziness.
Yeah, why are we out here right now?
Why are we out here? This isn't the normal set. This isn't the dungeon. Last night, well, we were on a fishing trip, which we'll talk about in a little bit. And last night, the plan, as we've planned many times before, believe it or not, to record a podcast on a fishing trip while we're staying at the Airbnb after the night of fishing. We bring all the shit. We have a podcast notes ready to go, and we're beat.
We're too
How many times have we recorded a podcast while on a fishing mission?
One.
This one?
The one with huge.
If you have your eyes open and actually watch the fly, you could maybe catch a few more fish.
Oh, that's right. And honestly, we were half dead the whole time.
Yes.
It was 45 minutes.
Wasn't our best work. But here we are. Beautiful October day.
Yeah. And we kind of decided to get it all ready last night, and we're going to come fishing today. We're on the third day of a 3-day little mission to northern Wisconsin. And we're like, well, what if we just pull over midday when we're ready for a snack and record a podcast? Thought through it, kind of jimmy rigged a setup, had some stuff, you know, so we'll see if you like it. Let us know. We can do a lot more of these. We're out here wasting our time, casting at nothing a lot of the time. And it would make a lot of sense, Josh, to record podcasts while we do it. Mm-hmm. It's way nicer out here. I'd rather be swarmed by bugs.
Me too.
Sitting on a wreck and rack fly box. And, you know, I literally think I'm sitting next to someone's poop. Like right there. I can kind of get a whiff of it, but I think it started to decompose.
Yeah, there is toilet paper next to you.
Yeah,
Dan.
right there. So yeah, that's what we're doing.
Yep.
Talk us through the trip so far.
We set the scene for you guys pretty good, hopefully. So far, we've the mission here was to do some late October monster hunting because that's kind of been the mission of the entire year, and we wanted to finally seal the deal with a big one.
On different water, too.
On different water.
I think not just going to the river, like spreading our wings a little bit.
Yes. Pushing yourself out of that comfort zone. We talked about that in the past a little bit too.
It's been uncomfortable.
Yes.
It's definitely been outside of our comfort zone.
So we tried some spots we've been eyeing up for a couple years in the last couple days.
Yep.
And I mean, we went out there, gave it our all. It looked fishy as hell, but the cards didn't have it in our favor.
This one was just, I think, big spots. Like we've been doing this all year. We've been dealt some bad luck. We've missed and screwed up some things. We've made some mistakes, but we really started in April. We went out to Iowa. Then we dedicated our southern opener to a weird new big fish kind of program. Same with northern, so that was 3. 0 for 3. Southern opener was close. We should have been fishing it at night. And then we kind of laid off a little bit. I mean, we had some stuff going on. We did tree lands. We had some stuff this summer. August was out for both of us, as we've talked about. So like, this is us rekindling it with one of the spots that we wanted to go to.
Yep.
We started off coming in late or no, we got an early start the first day because we got to do a little fishing on the first day, did we not?
Yep, first day.
It spoiled us. It spoiled us.
We actually had 2 encounters that evening, so all was not lost there.
Yeah, all was not lost. Little lake we knew, kind of hit it on the way to this spot. We were driving all over the goddamn state this weekend. Holy shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was cool. I mean, when we rolled up to that spot, big river system. When we rolled up to that spot, that was just like one of the coolest spots I've seen all year.
Yes.
All probably up there. It's the only reason it's not up there for me is it's, you know, utterly devoid of muskies as far as our morning experience goes.
Yes, yeah, we'll be back, but
Yeah.
That's one of our character flaws is we always go to a really good spot at the wrong time.
Yes.
So we're gonna work on.
We're working on it. We're in therapy.
We're
in therapy. We're medicated. We're trying to, but you know, man, yeah, we gave it hell though. We fished it for about 3 hours. And I mean, I guess I'm going to talk through a little bit about like how we work through going about that. Because it's really hard. We know it's going to be hard. But how do we do it? So even on this trip.
New water, big fish.
Yeah, we want to catch fish just like everybody, but we've been dedicated to this project. And our dedication is waning at this point for the year. We already talked about having a new plan next year. But we came in, we fished a little bit because we had 2 hours to fish a spot we knew, you know, recommend that. You got a small amount of time. That's a good way to get bit, especially this time of year. And then we did the whole day, got up early, did the whole day, new spot, knew there was going to be messing around at boat landings and not picking the right one, which we did on the first one.
Yep.
And then just getting the lay of the land. We get there and we basically couldn't even drive the boat 100 yards. We got stopped by rocks and had to meander around that. So you just kind of factor that in. You're not going to be able to cover as much water. You got to fish kind of a different way because it's a lot more hopeful. You don't know anything. Mm-hmm. We didn't know what flies work. We didn't know where they were. We had done our research, all sorts of stuff, which we've never really talked about how we do that. This is probably not the format for that, but how we decided on arriving there in the morning.
Yes. I think at some point we're going to do a whole episode on our process of finding new water, learning new water, scouting it digitally or through maps or trying to get intel remotely, and then having a plan of attack when you show up.
Yeah, and then stuff does kind of fall into your lap. I mean, you have all of this stuff and then you know that you have a lot of unknowns.
Yes.
And we knew that. And it was actually interesting, about the time that you and I were starting to man, we have not seen a swipe, we have not seen a minnow, we have not seen a flash of anything on side imaging. This whole place devoid of life, not just muskies. As far as a migratory spot, nothing here. About the same time that we realized that, one source that we had kind of been asking questions about that kind of knew this area told us to move. He was like, I talked to somebody, they're in a way different spot right now. So we got, used a little bit of intel, mm-hmm. but did our own homework, and ultimately it didn't pay off this time, but now we got eyes on it.
Yep.
Which is the big thing. Being able to know that, we talked about it on the drive home, now we know there's a quick trip really close by. That's always nice. We know, when flows the boat can get in and out. We can say, okay, we were there, we barely got in, the flows were this. We know that we liked fishing one area better than the other, et cetera. So I guess this is me probably just justifying the waste of a day, but ultimately, yeah. We picked that for our middle day knowing we had today. So then what was our plan for today? Are we at the same spot, or did we totally
a different spot? Today we had to go back to a confidence lake we fished many times in the past, and we know fish are here. We fished it a lot in the fall as well, so we wanted to come here,
have some fun,
have some legit shots at multiple fish throughout the day, and just enjoy the fall. So that's what we're doing. Thought we'd take some time out of our schedule though in this trip to film this podcast outdoors.
Yes, midday. This is our midday fishing podcast. It could be the dumbest thing we've ever done. We contemplated that as we drove over here, and we actually had to prepare ourselves to start doing this. We didn't want to.
We wanted to keep fishing.
We wanted to keep fishing, and we were kind of like, I don't know, man. It's kind of like a bad fly idea where you end up tying it, and you're like, no, it's totally stupid.
Yeah.
It just didn't pan out. So we'll see. We'll see. It'd be really nice if we went and caught some muskies after this podcast. That'd probably make it.
I guarantee we will, and we'll post them right now. Okay, maybe we didn't post any, but we'll see.
But Josh prepared us for that.
Yeah.
I love his confidence. What have we been finding? I mean, obviously we found pretty much nothing yesterday, but what be our fishing report for like late October?
Late October historically has been
Wisconsin.
very cold, but this year it's unseasonably warm.
I mean, you got freaking crocky-doos on, dude.
Crocky-doos,
Choco-doos.
The weeds haven't died.
Lots of weeds, at least on some of the small, medium lakes.
So these fish they're still on that outside weed edge right now. That's where we've been finding them. We've actually had a lot of success today. We've moved 3 confirmed fish and had several sus other encounters as well.
How do we know that they were sus?
We digitally saw them.
With what digital tool do you have to see them?
With Dan's cheater stick.
Josh refuses to say the word. I just think it shouldn't be. I use it. I don't love it, but I think, as we'll show, maybe in this podcast. I thought I saw something. It's weird.
Like a Sasquatch?
I just had a moment where I was like, man.
Oh, yep, you did. I just saw him flash. He just came up and there he is again. There he is again.
It can be a cool tool. It was fun earlier today. Didn't you have a positive experience?
Yeah.
We, as you see, like, I don't know if we'll be able to show it, but we had a really cool encounter. We, really just arrived and fishing a spot we know. I've never fished it with live scope. We're not road hunting. I think that's stupid. We're just fishing how we normally would. And live scopes pointed at different areas as we're fishing. And first I saw my fly swimming down there for a little bit, okay? You're not just like watching your fly the whole time. You got to do it perfectly. You got to point it. You got to cast it perfect. And maybe you're going to get like 4 strips where you see it. So don't freak out that it's some crazy shit. But there was a moment where it lined up perfectly. My fly hit. I could see my fly starting to peel off the weed edge, and then something else peeled off the weed edge behind it. We don't actually know if this whole bit's going to be made into the podcast because Josh is in control, and Josh is, less of a fan than I am. I'm on the fence. I think he wants to burn the fence down. What do you have to say for yourself about your experience today?
I'm embarrassed to be associated with Dan Donovan.
Because of live scope or for other reasons?
No, I think there's ways to use it where it's a little more legit than just road hunting.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that.
Okay. Moving on.
I don't know.
Either way, we're kind of bumped off like to fishing in boats in about 10 feet on this lake, casting into 3.
Yep.
That seems to be where the fish are right now. Although we haven't had any big ones. We've seen a bunch of little squirrely guys.
Yep, looking for that big monster.
You got all the action up front. I don't know why I'm talking. I don't know what the fuck's going on. Tell us what's been going on, Josh.
Throwing a double Buford, white and yellow. I don't know what else to say about it, but it's a great pattern. Slightly off color water. I personally like to swim flies that I can see. I can understand what's happening. I can track them better. So it's a bright day, bright fly, as they say. So that's what I've been doing, and it's been working so far.
How have you been fishing it? Because I think we peeled into something that seems to be making a difference.
Fairly quickly, and then as I'm bringing it to the boat, really focusing on that figure 8, and we've been getting all the encounters when we're stalling those flies out in the corners.
All 3
muskies we've seen take swipes or cracks at that fly. The fly's been perfectly still, stalled out in the corner of the figure 8.
And as we saw the video that we showed earlier, the muskies we have not caught that were on live scope were all like followy. There's follow behavior.
Yep.
So kind of we know they're in that mood. It's not like the most fun. You'd prefer them to be crushing things out on the cast, but hey, we're seeing them. They're playing the game. They crushed you at the boat.
Yep, I trout sighted, which we'll show as well. So.
Oh, nice one. You gave me was
Trout sight.
Did you feel it?
Oh yeah.
And just like reaffirms a couple things that we've talked about, which is like, this is one of those days where, yeah, we're figure eighting every cast. We're doing 3 to 4 turns. We're twitching it.
Yep.
I mean, you didn't even see that one, and it showed up on the second turn.
Showed up on the second turn. We weren't looking at live scope at that time, so it was legit.
Yeah, that was the one that trout set. Yeah.
Yep.
It's how she goes. I'm going to trout set a couple this afternoon. I feel like it. Feel in my loins.
That's how she goes. She either does or she doesn't.
Yeah, but I got the trout set rod, that Tommy 2-hander. I think I have it right here.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
I brought a prop just to make you feel more comfortable with yourself in the woods.
I
but
like it.
I think you can just trout set with that one. So
yeah, I think so too, Dan.
yeah, it's pretty great.
So
Selling point. So anything you want to talk about on what? Go ahead. You were going to say something.
Yeah, I was gonna ask what else you want to talk about. You mentioned Drake at one point?
Yeah, you're bringing up Drake. I'm surprised. If we're gonna go from live scope to Drake.
Live scope to Drake.
Yeah,
Drake
what's
on
there
the
to
Drake.
say? What's there to say? You know, I mean, we can at least call it what it is now. We know what it is. It was very marketing focused. I think there was mutual incentives. Drake wanted to appropriate the fly fishing culture. It's just what it is. And bring his brand. He's got a new outdoor brand. Kind of sweet. I mean, it's not like my thing, but...
It's called Nocta.
Nocta.
Is it a collab with Nike?
It's like a sub-brand of Nike or something.
Nike, okay.
Because it's got some swooshes on it, I believe.
It's got swagger. It looks pretty,
yeah, there was
kind
like
of cool.
That shirt was kind of cool.
Yeah.
It's kind of dumb, but it's also kind of cool. There's a shirt they got that the Nike swoosh logo. You see that one?
Yeah.
It's in the fly line.
They're getting a lot of hate on the internet, but...
For different reasons, I think. I think that's just the brand association with Drake.
Yeah.
I mean, his like PR is not at an all-time high right now. So there's that issue, which is like the Drake parachuting in, culturally appropriating fly fishing culture, or at least in a nicer way, using it to build the brand for his product line. I think his buddy or his like manager or good friend or something, Nico, I believe his name is. I'm a little out of my depth here, but I did some homework on this. I believe he actually has some fly fishing experience and has been out west, so I think there might have been some influence there.
Okay.
But yeah, I think what happened is it came out, the first pot I saw it was actually Drake posting it.
Wow.
So Champagne Poppy Instagram account, which is like my #1 account. I'm a huge Drake fan.
For sure. Glued to it.
Posted the Drake magazine with him on the cover.
Yes.
And I was like, what the? Did he just like find this and Photoshop himself on the cover, just like posing?
Yes.
And then the Drake magazine posted it.
Yes.
And you're like, okay, Drake on the Drake. You know, now the second piece of this which is like, okay, so the Drake was trying to get some PR because they're going to hopefully benefit and they're seeing benefit in bringing fly fishing to the masses or a different audience is the way they put it.
Mm-hmm.
And I get that. And I think I see that. I don't know about you. But then the video came out, and I think that's when people got upset.
Yeah, the video.
The party. Yeah, it was not at a lodge on the Snake River, on some protected river that needs human support. It was not in the places. I think that was my biggest fault with it. I don't know.
It wasn't totally accurate.
It's just like
depiction of how fly fishermen hang out in the off hours off the lake and the river.
Which is okay. I think again, okay. For me personally, it was like, God, I sound so grumpy about this.
I definitely just go clubbing every time I get
That's
to
what we do tonight.
The boat launch.
Yeah,
I just head straight to the club.
The clubs in northern Wisconsin, you guys are missing out if you have not seen them.
Hurley.
Not those clubs, Josh. The fishing.
Oh, what are we talking about?
Yeah, no, but like, I guess where it rests with me is it was this big marketing buildup. Because this stuff's all intentional. Drake posting it first, then the Drake, then there's going to be this video, and then you get the products drop. And like, this is all marketing buzz and campaign plan. And the rollout plan.
Yeah.
And to have the video come and have this big, like, prior to that, they're defending, we need to get more people into fly fishing. It's like, well, you didn't. That was my thing. It was a party on the rooftop, casting fly rods, looking cool into a pool. And
what's wrong with that?
There's nothing like fundamentally wrong with it. I think just for me, why it was a turnoff was like, where are the fucking fish? Where are the rivers and the lakes? That's what that's the whole point of all of it.
It's
so
not
we can be right here. That's why it's like so ironic that we're talking about this.
It's not about natural resources. It's not about conservation or sustainability or
and I don't even
being
need to get
stewards of our watersheds.
Yes.
It's all about we're going fucking clubbing.
$2,500 Abels, clubbing, Drake.
Yeah.
Yes, that's where it's just a little bit like.
I hear you. I feel you.
Plus, how are you gonna, even if you want to put all the conservation, stewardship stuff and be like, you don't need to guilt trip everyone does not need to sign up to fish and wear that stuff, right? They can just enjoy it and be good anglers to take care of their own world.
Yes.
But still, it's about the fish and catching them and going to the places that they exist. And they don't exist, like, what's the version of that? You create a fly fishing style little theme park and there's stock trout in a pool on a rooftop of New York. Is that good? Does it sell more fly rods and more shit? Yeah, but it's like, now we're caring a lot less about these places.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. You're getting me a little fired up. I might need to walk it off.
You could also make the argument about a fabricated fishery like the Milwaukee River.
Yeah, well, right. That's a really good point. You're calling me out appropriately. That's why I appreciate it. Like, a lot of our fisheries are fabricated, so what's the degree of...
At what degree do you draw the line?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe on the rooftop in New York with a stock trout
chlorine.
pond.
You draw the line at chlorine?
Chlorine. When chlorine's involved, that's where we draw the line here on Spotburn. So.
Yeah. So we'll see. I haven't heard much buzz from it since. I think it's already going to fade over. We're probably just giving it more oxygen than we need to. But I think overall, my take would be this.
Okay.
See, sweet that he was on. There's a connection to mainstream fly fishing. Cool, you were famous. You had your 15 minutes in the fame. I don't think we did a great job with it. I don't think we soaked it up. I don't think we told people about what this is all about to get them into it. Drake on a rooftop in Nike Dunks and a fly fishing shirt is not going to get them into it. The attempt, good job. That's my take.
That's a good take. Yeah.
Yeah, it feels a little bit of like, get off my lawn.
It's all right.
Yeah.
We'll see how it shakes out.
What was Gabe's? I have it in the notes. Gabe had a good, Gabe and Jake have good one-liners.
Gabe said, I don't want to be around anymore.
No, it wasn't that, beyond. It was, my culture is not your costume.
Oh.
Yeah, but the problem is, this is not at Gabe, because Gabe is, of course, by means...
We love Gabe.
We love Gabe, and he's the nicest person in the world. But, I struggle even saying that, which is why I laughed about my cultural appropriation comment, because it's like, oh, who's culturally appropriating now?
Yep.
We've been doing it to everybody's culture for the last 17 decades.
Yeah, our ancestors were assholes.
Yeah, so, moving on from Drake.
A
little lighter topic, perhaps.
What's
heavier or lighter, depending on how you look at it.
Oh, we talking pressure?
Barometric pressure pun joke.
Barometric pressure.
Yeah. So this is all you, bud. Why are we talking about this?
Well, this is a topic that comes up a lot in the fishing realm, especially with muskies. Like, why are they biting today? Why are they not biting today? Why was that day 2 years ago so amazing? And what were the conditions that we experienced and all of that stuff? And for all the nerds out there that love to come up with theories and speculate, it's kind of like an insight to possibly one of the puzzle pieces of what's making those fish active and more aggressive, or making those really memorable musky outings on the water. So,
and it's for sure to me like one of the first clues that I think fishermen and anglers seem to pick up. Like, you hear about it dating back quite a ways.
Yes.
When we were tracking pressure.
Yep.
And it was like, oh, there's a lot of the old tales about it.
And it's fascinating to me. Like, people are always like, well, you should go out and fish right before a storm. Why is that? What what effect does that have on a fish?
Yes.
So this is what we're doing. We're doing a very high level.
A little spot burn on barometric pressure.
Dive into it. Yep.
Are we going to be quizzed at the end of this?
We might be quizzed.
Okay.
I'll quiz you.
Okay. I'm not texting my friends. I'm just
Dan's
looking
gonna
at my
prompt
notes.
me. We're working remotely in the studio. So.
We might be surprised though. There might be a surprise. We did run into somebody.
Yes, they might be making a cameo appearance.
And Josh's fishing hero. That's not a joke, but it's kind of a joke because that's what we were embarrassed about earlier. We ran into him while we were going to our fishing spot, and it was a classic case. Just a sidebar. I think we missed this earlier.
Oh yeah.
Sidebar. It was a classic case of.
They're right out there.
What's the enemies in the other boat? Am I getting that saying right?
Enemies.
Have you ever heard that?
No.
Or like everyone not in my boat's an asshole. Somebody, internet, please correct us. Tell us what the saying is, but it's something like that. And it's that kind of classic fishing adage of like when we're in the boat, no matter who we see on the water, they're an asshole.
They're a jerk.
But then you like get to know, like, oh, that's my buddy, or oh, that's exactly what happened. We were like, oh, they're going to our spot. Who are these? Nah. Just like whining like a little bitch. Mainly me. Josh doesn't do that. And then we roll up on them, and I see him, and I'm like, are you Jeff? I'm Dan. And Jeff and I have been talking for a while, and we have not met. We have not been able to get him on the podcast. So it's pretty hilarious that we met in that situation.
Yeah, and they're fishing right out here.
Yeah.
They might make a cameo appearance during the show. We'll see, but if not, it was fun to run into them.
Yeah, we told him to come. We told him to come onto the podcast, and he said no way. He's fishing today.
He's fishing.
No, that's not what happened.
We'll reschedule.
We didn't ask. All right, back to barometric pressure. Thank you.
Barometric pressure and why this affects fish and why anglers should care about it. Well, first let's define what barometric pressure is. It's also known as atmospheric pressure. So essentially what we're talking about is the pressure of the atmosphere on the Earth's surface. So we as humans, we live in this arid environment. We don't really feel pressure changes that much. Some people, they have like ear issues or something like that. Maybe they have a past injury or something.
And stuff. Oh yeah.
Yeah, so you can feel the pressure changes. Yeah, especially on a plane, you can feel that pressure change. But that's typically the only scenario as a human where you're going to experience that pressure change. Fish, on the other hand, they spend their entire lives in an environment
under pressure
that's dictated by pressure. Yes. So a lot of factors in the barometer changing play into how hungry or not hungry they are.
So what are talk to us first about the different types.
So
we obviously know pressure can rise and fall, but where does it kind of...
Yeah, the two types of pressure that we're talking about and most interested in as anglers are high pressure and low pressure. So the baseline barometric pressure on your average day, if you were to look at the mercury barometer, would be right around that. I think it's like 29.2 or something like that.
Okay.
So anything lower than that is going to be considered lower pressure. Now when that thing starts going up into the 30s, that's a high pressure system. What does that look like? So today we have clouds, we have wind, we have a cold front coming in. So that's all low pressure.
Low pressure is moving in the whole low pressure system. If you would picture like a forecast map.
If you look at a forecast map, yep, low pressure system. Thunderstorms are a good example of that. When you're out on the water, you see some cumulonimbus clouds rolling in, you can instantly feel the wind change directions. You can feel the temperature drop.
And is this when like people with arthritis are going to tell you that they feel it in their joints?
Yeah, my joints hurt. It's all that low pressure. Now high pressure is the exact opposite. Think of a very clear, no wind, sunny day in the winter. That's very high pressure. So that's
like flat calm,
blah blah blah. And then the last one's kind of like, those are the two main ones. The last one's just like constant pressure,
stable
pressure. We'll talk about that in a second. Okay, so how this affects fish though is, the old adage, or you've probably heard old timers say, well, you want to go fish the low pressure system. You don't want to be out there.
I have heard that.
In a high pressure system. And you've probably experienced it on the water. Like before a thunderstorm, you might see a flurry of activity, especially in the shallows. In, right after a very high pressure system, once the system has stabilized, you might find fish feeding in deep water. But when it's like...
And that's all, now we're talking about how the pressure impacts their swim bladder sensitivity a little bit.
Yes,
like,
yes.
So that's one of the main ways that pressure affects them, is that it releases or contracts or the swim bladder?
Correct.
If I understand it? Okay.
So back to what I previously mentioned about how these fish live...
I just got a whiff of the poop, by the way.
Oh no. Speaking of a pressure system, so fish live in a pressure dictated environment, and they have this organ inside of their bodies called the swim bladder, and that helps with buoyancy. So in a low pressure system, that low pressure on the Earth's surface is allowing their swim bladder to expand, and that releases gases, and it makes them feel uncomfortable. So if it's expanding, it's going to push them higher up in the water column, and they're going to want to go towards shallower water. So if all the bait fish and then all the bluegills and the smaller forage are moving towards shallower water, then the bigger fish are going to be moving into shallower water
and also feel the same effects on theirs. Interesting.
Correct, yep.
And this is like not an every single time thing, but I think this is like the way you said it to me earlier is it's like under the realm of think like a fish, not like a human. Like
Correct.
Humans might not feel this, so we're like oblivious. Like, the sun's out. Oh.
It's so hard to cast because it's windy, but the fishing's good.
Yeah. Right.
So yeah, it is tough. Forget everything
Think like a fish.
Think like a fish. Now the exact opposite happens with high pressure systems. There's a lot of pressure on the Earth's surface and on the water column. So that swim bladder is going to be shrunken down, or it's going to hold its size. And those fish are going to want to move towards deeper water, and they're just going to want to chill out. They're not going to want to eat too much. You're not going to find them in the shadows or shallows that often either.
Interesting. So it's kind of like, the way I understand it scientifically is like fish basically this whole time are going through a big tummy ache.
Pretty much.
Interesting.
Pretty much.
Like just like gassy, and they just
They're gassy. Yep.
And then maybe once in a while they just starve themselves so much, they get so hungry they have to just like go off on a tear.
Yes. Yep. Exactly. These are just like scientific observations. It's probably been proven somewhere. We don't have all the data. We're just kind of we're giving you the high level notes here.
Yeah, I like this. Do you need any? Keep going.
Yeah, this is like more or less like something that we've seen consistently over the years when we've had like really big, awesome feeding windows, but it's not like the status quo. There are situations where you're going to hook into really big muskies during a high pressure system.
Well, there's that. There's a couple. That's a good thing to like kind of bring up is like the exceptions, because that's the only rule that matters is that there's always an exception to everything.
Yep.
Except exceptions are the rule. Mm-hmm. Because there's probably, the way I understand it is like this is what's gonna create awesome little like power windows before these systems really move in and the weather changes, but they're not gonna be long day great patterns. Mm-hmm. Like the patterns are gonna be more about time of year, weed growth, water levels, algae blooms, certain month seasonal movements, and this is like the inter-day, inter-week stuff. Is when we're talking about barometric pressure, it's the inter-day, like it's the micro stuff.
Yes, yeah.
You know, fish are still going to be tied to, you know, right now Josh and I are looking for warm water. We've progressively found warmer water throughout the week. We're trying to find the healthiest weeds near deepest water, and the pressure might affect where fish are in that spot. They might slide up shallow, but it's not going to give you all the answers.
Correct, yeah.
And then as you said on the other side, high pressure might suck, but I think now we know how it's going to affect fish and can work with that.
Yep.
We've had good fishing days on it, usually some bigger fish.
Yeah, yeah.
Like solo, out of nowhere, high pressure days like you were talking about last weekend.
Yep. So, I mean, most of the time, a lot of the people out there, they don't get that much time in their, you know, their free hours of their life to be like, I'm only going to fish in the perfect low pressure conditions during this part of the day and that part of the month, blah, blah, blah. You just got to go out there and make the best of it in most opportunities. But, you know, if you want to take this to the next level and really get serious and scientific about stuff and really be able to target bite windows, this could be a crucial key to that puzzle for you.
Yeah, I think it just help you, you know, the way I think about it too, of like when you're on a lake or you're on a river, and when I've always been really impressed with dudes and ladies, but mainly dudes that fish tournaments for muskies. Mm-hmm. And when there's situations like you're so in tune with the pattern, you're pre-fishing, you're on a pattern, but it's in low pressure. And then high pressure comes tournament day and you stay on the pattern, but you adjust because you're like, okay, the high pressure is going to cause the fish that I knew were here eating this to go here and start wanting this maybe.
Yep.
But you had to have that confidence of what are they going to do?
Yes.
So I think that's what I'm the most excited about, is to use that kind of a lot of the info and more info that we have to share
yep.
on those high pressure days.
Yep.
To be like, okay, they're not there. Stop trying to fish for them there.
Yes.
Go somewhere else or approach this totally differently.
Yep. Yep. Yes, sir. So yeah, think about low pressure. That's what you're looking for out there. Think about the calm before the storm, you know, right before thunderstorm rolls in, a cold front's moving in, a warm front's moving in, the beginning of the day as, you know, the temperature starts to come up a little bit, and then at the end of the day. Those are pressure swings right there that you're looking for.
So then talk to me through, I think you're going to go through the stable pressure then.
Oh, then stable pressure. So like, let's say the pressure has risen or the pressure has dropped. So like it's rising, the fishing's starting to really suck, blah, blah, blah. But then it tanks out, right? So like right when it tanks out and it's high pressure, it's probably going to be terrible for a while. But maybe those conditions stay high pressure for like 4 days.
Did you find
now those fish have kind of like acclimated to that as their baseline?
Like they would it's like barometric pressure in the water too.
Yes.
You know, like how are they going to they need a little bit of time to swim down and let their pressure release or acclimatize.
Yes, let their swim bladders.
So that's why
kind of
they
adjust
could be
again.
eating in high pressure, but they need time maybe after that storm comes in or after that pressure change.
Yep, yep.
Did you find anything that talks about like how long it stays? Like, does it always want to come back to the average, or could it stay in a high pressure for a while? Like, what's an uncommonly long high pressure system or low? Like, I don't know anything about it to know like our low pressure system's really short. They come and go, and then high pressure comes, and then it stabilizes.
Honestly, I don't know that much about it too. I'm not a full-blown meteorologist.
Well, if there's any of them out there, you know, and you want to like make us sound smarter, come on the show.
Yeah.
We'd love to talk to you.
We'd
we
love
sound
to
really dumb right now because we can't look anything up. Normally we'd have ChatGPT out and internet. We'd be like, oh, how does this work?
Yeah.
We need that. We don't have that guy that Joe Rogan has or
Elon Musk.
No, not Jesus Christ. You need like the dude who's over there in the people. Hey, look this up.
Oh yeah, look this up.
I always get a kick of that on podcasts.
Someday
I'm like,
we'll have one of those.
I don't know.
We'll have an intern someday.
A, I don't know that we'll have a big
meteorologist.
enough podcast for that. And B, I don't know if there's like that's just like the meat eater one who's just like in the the podcast now, just like parenting Steve the whole hour and a half.
In real time with the
It's
earpiece.
like, Steve, you can't say that.
Okay. Yeah, that would be nice to have a prompter.
If we could cut that out, Steve has a booger in his nose.
But for the most part, yeah, I think that's a good question, Dan. I think the Earth does have that baseline. It wants to stay around that. I believe it's like 29.2 Hg we're talking, which is mercury.
Interesting.
So 29.2. So it fluctuates up and down for that, but on average it wants to stay right around that area. I could be totally off on that number, but there is a baseline that it wants to kind of hang at.
And then it's like, I think the other piece that it makes me think about is putting this together with other things. You have a good time of the year. You have good water temps. Your seasonal pattern lines up. You got good weather. Water levels are, you know, wherever you're fishing, it's like everything. And you have low pressure. You might get a good window.
Yes. Yep.
Cool.
How many times have you heard an old timer say, "Oh, the clouds are rolling in, it's going to pick up."
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Or the sun's setting, we should be out there. Or there's a thunderstorm on the horizon, it's going to start picking up now too.
And post frontal is usually pretty lonely.
Yeah.
But that could just be a lot because of how you approach it.
Yep.
Right? It's not going to be the best bite windows. You still got to grind them out, but
Yep.
you don't need to grind them out in a spot where they're going to be when it's low pressure.
Nope.
Yeah. How do we talk to me through about how we monitor this? Is that the next part of this, or did we skip over anything before we get into some of that?
No, I think we're right there. Yeah, there's some tools at our disposal for monitoring pressure while you're on the water. There's a couple apps that are specifically made for fishermen. First and most popular is probably FishBrain. They got
They do have barometric pressure.
Barometric pressure in there.
Which, honestly, that app gets a lot of hate. I do hate it. I give it a lot of hate.
Yeah.
But we made a little comment earlier about how we scout new water, and that's on my phone. I've signed up. It's absolutely, I want to go look where other people are stupid enough to post their pictures and locations of where they caught fish.
Yeah.
And then you can filter by month and filter by, absolutely. Have I ever submitted anything, or will I ever submit anything to that app? Absolutely not. Absolutely never. I hate it, but I love it.
So that's an angler-specific app that's available. That was the best one that we found. That was the highest rated. And then there's a whole bunch of other apps out there that show you barometric
Do you want me to read them off?
information, but they're not like totally tailored to anglers. Yeah, Dan's gonna rattle those.
So Weather
off.
Underground, I use that as well. I think that's one of the most detailed weather apps and is pretty good forecast. My fishing forecast, Bass Forecast. So those are some fishing apps that have it. Fishing barometers, Angler Bullseye, that's an Angler ANGLR. Ambient Weather, Sunroad Barometer, and then there's some smartwatches. I think Hunter and Gabe have this. That's why they like their little Garmin watches.
The smartwatch is pretty sweet
Because it gives them alerts.
You can set it to have
Hunter's
an alert,
always like, hey,
oh, it's dropping,
yeah,
it's dropping.
Hunter's always
Yeah.
doing that in the boat.
That's
Casio
great.
Pro Trek.
Okay.
And then there's an analog fishing barometer. You can just get one, a West Mountain barometer, reliable for real-time pressure checks.
So if you're in a place like this with no cell service and you haven't previously downloaded an app
We should
that
maybe
can work
add one of
offline,
those.
then you're gonna want the analog method.
We should get some in the shop.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I want one.
And we'll put links to these on the YouTube
Yes, in the show
for
notes.
sure.
None of which we sell, but that's okay. That's,
New product alert. We might be carrying it.
we're going to bring we talked about this new product alert earlier. Should we even let it breathe the light of day?
What's that?
Our barometric. We figured that if the government can alter the weather
Yeah.
and create hurricanes,
Yes.
we can alter the barometric pressure to make fishing better.
Yes. To fool a
Yes.
fish's swim bladder into thinking
Yeah.
it needs to move towards the shallows.
It's like
and start
fish
eating.
Pepto-Bismol. We're helping their tummy ache settle down so they eat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I understand that, right? I
Yeah.
have no idea.
So we hope you guys enjoyed our little spiel about barometric pressure. Maybe you're all dumber for having listened to it, but it's fascinating stuff. It got my ears perked up, and I want to learn more about it.
No, it was awesome. I think we've gotten feedback that we like, folks, ourselves included, we like to do little topics like that. Yeah, it's a little bit of extra work, and we dig into it and make sure we get some stuff right. But like whether it's big topics like the DNR, barometric pressure, just some of those things, I think the way you had said it to me at home, yeah, of course I knew about it. Of course I knew low pressure and high pressure, but I didn't really know about it. No one had given me like the research paper on it. Like, no, actually, this is what it means.
This is what it does to a
Instead
fish.
of just like all of the hearsay that we all kind of bullshit about. Mm-hmm. So that was like really sweet, because now I'm like, oh yeah, so now I know how to think about that.
Yep.
Cool. Well, we're gonna wrap. We got to get back to fishing here, folks. It's about to be a bite window. Pressure's dropping.
We got a quick tip for everybody out
Quick
there.
tip, yeah. Quick tip: a scooper or a stabber?
So today,
Are you a scooper? Are you a stabber? That's a quick tip. Take it away.
I'm a scooper, and I think everyone.
Well, what happened? I guess there was a moment of scooping
Okay.
and stabbing.
So last weekend, last couple
This is a
weeks.
long quick tip.
Yeah, it's a long quick tip. We got to preface this quick tip about scooping and stabbing with net. manner. I've seen a lot of fish get lost at the net recently.
Poor netting.
Poor netting. Some of them have been rookie mistakes and really good learning moments.
I would like to just clarify that none of these have been from me. Just being as the person sitting next to him while he lambasts netting.
None of them have been from Dan.
Which isn't really a compliment because I haven't netted any fish either.
Dan's a great net buddy. Hopefully he'll be netting some later today.
Yep.
But seeing a lot of fish get lost at the net is always the most heartbreaking scenario.
Did everything right up until that point.
Now, there's two ways to go about thinking on this. Are you a scooper or a stabber? Some people say you need to be super aggressive with that net. Get that thing into the water, blah, blah, blah. Some people are like, no. Wait for the perfect time and then gently scoop down under that fish while you're holding the big musky bag in your hand, and make sure with full confidence you're under that fish too.
I'm a scooper, but I've got some erratic stabbing in me. When the moment calls for an erratic stab, you got to stab.
Yep. Regardless of what your tactic is, I think as a net person, you have to, when you get that net in the water, you have to be fully confident that that was the right moment to do that.
I think that's the best way to sum it up. When you get that net in the water, you have to be fully confident that that's the best moment to do that. If you have any pause or hesitation, unless the dude is yelling at you or girl yelling at you to say, hey, it's pinned in the lip, it's not hooked well, just net it.
Yes.
But even then, you have to parse through some of that because you might be in an aggravated, high stress state because you got a huge muskie on. You're like, just net it. I've had that happen where people are like, just net it. I'm like, dude, it's 20 feet over there. What do you mean just net it?
It wasn't ready.
So you got to kind of like even maybe not listen to the angler, but sometimes listen to the angler, and I think that's the best thing. Do not get that net in the water unless you are highest confidence that you can net it.
And with really big fish on the line, the worst thing you can do is lose the fish of a lifetime for your buddy by hitting it with the net.
Yeah.
So you really got to make sure that that fish is ready to come in.
And I think the stabbing does too. Why the stabbing is a red flag and gets you in trouble for me is at least two things. One, that stab means you're fully extended, and if you have to do any like manipulating of the net, fish is kind of over the rim.
Yeah.
You didn't get it right. You have no power because you're fully extended and you can't lift. You can't extend anymore. You're out. Whereas if you're in here and you're scooping, you can move quickly or move over here. You have flexibility, mobility, power to lift, to move, to take the net away. And then the second piece, I just think you get those fish hung up on the net so often. They get hung up high in the back or the bag when you're stabbing them. Because the net's, like if I go to stab a fish out here, the net is gonna all be up by the fish. If I go to scoop, I'm literally putting the net in and the bag is like away from it.
Yes.
So the whole setup, it's not really easy to explain right here. It looks like I'm just like punching Josh, moving my hands around, but hope you get the point.
Yeah.
So quick tip.
That's our quick tip.
Sum it up for us.
Not brought to you by Quick Trip, but someday, hopefully, Quick Trip will sponsor our quick tip. Sum it up. Be a scooper, not a stabber. Have full confidence once you get that net rim into the water.
Yeah, we hope you liked the podcast, y'all. We tried some new things. We got maybe some new footage in here, mixing it up, getting crazy. We filmed outside in the middle of the fishing day. We took time from fishing, come to a podcast. We hope you liked it. That's all I got. Another episode of the Spotburn Podcast.
See you guys. Thank you. Under pressure, looking down on me, pressing down on you. Ha, 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 ha. Under pressure.
I think my mic came off for that. Oh no.
Oh no.
Under pressure. Thank you for listening to the Spotburn Podcast. Coming to you from the dungeon, this podcast is presented by Musky Fly Fishing Co. We want to thank our awesome sponsors, Cortland Line Company and Stealth Craft Boats. We also want to thank all of you, our listeners, for tuning in, subscribing, sharing, and spreading the good word. If you haven't heard, go check us out at muskie-fool.com. Have fun out there on the water, y'all.